Hey guys, Kenny Cannon here. Over the spring of 2012, I had the opportunity to hold a seminar with small business owners, internet entrepreneurs, new business owners, salespeople from all industries. And what I did over one day in a 14-hour long session is I went over everything that you need to start an internet company from the ground up. I went over the tools that I use. I went over the product creation process that I use, and most importantly, what people found most valuable is the copywriting portion. And what I wanted to share with you here is just a small little clip about how to write effective copy. And I think you're going to find it extremely valuable. That video is coming up now. There's no slides, no notes, just pure content. And, we'll get right to it. I also want to invite you to head over to my website, kennycannon.com, and download a free video that I just uploaded the other day called the $50,000 Blueprint. And it takes you through the process that I used to generate $50,000 in revenue and put 1,700 plus people into a membership site in under 4 days, starting from scratch. I mean, we started with nothing, and in 4 days we had $50,000 in the bank and 1,700 people in a membership site. And I teach you how I did it, and I show you how you can do it as well. So head over to kennycannon.com, download that free video, and pay attention to this video as well, and make sure you take notes and ask any questions that you have in the comment section below, and I'll get to them right away. All right. Again, thanks for watching. My name is Kenny Cannon. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them below. And don't forget, head over to kennycannon.com and grab the $50,000 Blueprint. Now let's get right to the seminar and the copywriting segment. All right, guys, so let's talk quickly, because we're going to go over this much more later on in great detail. But let's talk a little bit about copywriting and the basics of structuring copy and how to write copy that converts very well. And this could be applied to a squeeze page, could be applied to a sales page, or even a sales video. It doesn't really matter. And what I'll do is I'll go through the basics of it, and then right before we take a break and move on to the next topic, I'll give you the #1 key to success with copy. And I just want to move this chair out of the way because it's driving me crazy. Okay, so the #1 goal of writing successful copy is not to get someone to buy something, not to get someone to opt in. It's not to do whatever else you're trying to do. The #1 goal of every piece of copy is to get people to read the next line. Okay? And you kind of think of it as like in an offline world, if you're selling something in an offline environment, what's the #1 goal when you're pitching somebody? Or even on the telephone, what's the #1 goal when you're cold calling and you're pitching someone? The #1 goal is to not get them to hang up. Right? It's not to take the money right away. It's not to get them to agree to an appointment or something like that. It's to keep them on the phone as long as you possibly can, because the longer they're on the phone, the more chance you have of getting whatever accomplished, that you're looking to accomplish. Same thing goes with offline sales, in-person sales. If you're looking to close a deal, the #1 goal that you have from the time you say hello to the time you say sign here is to keep that person at your desk, right? Because once they leave, they're not coming back, all right? And it's the same thing on the internet. There's no difference. And it drives me crazy when people say, oh, the internet, the offline world is different and all that other stuff. And it's not different. The sales process is exactly the same. Now, the conversion rates are different for every medium that you have. Offline's the highest. Telephone is #2. Online's #3, right? In most cases, anyway. But when it comes to effective copywriting, the only goal that you have is to keep them on the page. That's it. Nothing else matters. The only goal is to keep them on the page. And to take it even further than that, every line of copy, the only goal of each line is to get them to continue to read. So the goal of my headline, when I'm crafting a good headline, I'm thinking the entire time when I'm writing that headline, what do I have to say to get them to read the subheadline? Okay? Then when I'm writing the subheadline, I say, what do I have to say to get them to read the first line of the copy? Then I say, what do I have to write in the first line to get them to read the second? And so on and so forth, all the way down the page. Okay, so every time you're writing a piece of copy, think of that and make sure that your only goal throughout the entire copy is to get them to continue on the process. Because if you continue on the process, the further along you go, the more likely it is the person that is going to buy, number one, and the longer they stay on the page, the more likely it is they're going to buy. Or the longer they stay on the phone, or the longer they stay at your desk, or whatever the case may be. All right? So, every copy, whether it's a phone pitch, whether it's an in-person sales presentation, whether it's an online piece of copy, which is what we're kind of focused on here. But regardless of what it is, doesn't matter. Every piece of copy that you write or sales video that you produce is done in the same exact format. Okay. Number one, you tell them who you are. Now, the reason why you tell them who you are right off the bat is because the person has to know that you're qualified to teach them what you're going to teach them or sell them what you're going to sell them. Okay, whatever it is. All right. If you're doing info stuff, how-to stuff, they want to make sure the customer wants to know that you are the person that they trust to provide the solution. And the best way to do that is to have a before and after. Okay. Now, people say, oh, well, what if I don't have a before and after? What if I'm just starting out? Well, then you shouldn't be teaching what you're teaching. It drives me crazy in the internet marketing industry where you see people, they buy a book or a video or a course or something or a membership site. And then 3 days later, they're out trying to teach other people how to make money online. They haven't made a dime. And it's insane. If you don't have a before and after story, you shouldn't be teaching what you're teaching. You should have the story that says, I searched for the solution. Well, actually, first, it's, I was an idiot. I was depressed. I was horrible. I sucked at everything. I searched for the solution. Everything I tried sucked and nothing worked. I did this. It worked. I found it. Now I'm really cool. That's the way it should work. And you apply that to anything that you do. It's the same exact thing. Okay? Weight loss. I was a fat pig who sat on the couch and ate chips all day. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't exercise. Couldn't walk upstairs without passing out. I tried everything. Pills, meal plans, exercising, eating carrots all day. Everything. Nothing worked. Then I tried this really cool thing that I'm going to show you here in a second, and all of a sudden now 6 months later I'm 150 pounds. Okay? That's what it should sound like. Now, I don't know anything about weight loss, so all that stuff could be wrong because I've been 150 pounds since high school. But you can apply that to anything. It doesn't make a difference. The before and after story is the best way to provide real, quality, credible proof that you have the knowledge to teach them what the solution that they need. All right? After you do that, the next thing that you do is you provide some sort of testimonials that prove you're not the only one that saw the results from what you're teaching. Why is that important? Because I can go ahead and use my own system and see results all day long. But if I've shown other people and it only works for me, it's not going to work for the person on the page. They want to know that it worked for me and it worked for others as well. So people will ask me right off the bat, right away, after I say that, well, Kenny, I'm brand new to this. How do I get testimonials? Do you have parents? Do you have friends? Do you have sisters, brothers, uncles, cousins, whatever? Anybody. It doesn't make a difference. Give it away for free to friends, family, coworkers, whatever. Have people look at your stuff and use it. One of the biggest reasons why people fail online, offline, whatever, is because they don't have the balls to come out and say, listen, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is my name. This is my brand. This is my product. Here it is. And the reason why they don't have the balls to do that is because they're afraid that they're going to fail. And they're afraid that they're going to look like an idiot if they don't make a lot of money doing it. Stop that. Okay? Stop that. If you're looking for testimonials, go out and give it to your family and friends. Go out and give it to people that you know. Go out and give it to your coworkers. Okay? Don't worry about the fear of failure thing. And the reason is because everybody else out there, and this is how I got over the whole fear of failure thing when I first started, everyone else out there is working a 9 to 5. They're complaining all day long. They care more about American Idol and the X Factor than they do their own finances and financial well-being and all that kind of stuff. So you're out there taking a risk and trying to make things better in your own life. Be proud of that. Success or failure, it doesn't matter. You're out there trying, and those people aren't. So don't worry about it. Who cares? It doesn't matter. So go out there and give it to people so you get testimonials. Because remember, one of the biggest things in copy is social proof. Nothing sells better than social proof. Okay? If I walk into my house and I say, let's say my parents are over or something, and I say, Mom, the pizza store down the road is awesome.
and I have 4 friends behind me that say, yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, it's awesome. It's great. The pizza's awesome, man. It's really good. The prices are good too. That holds so much more weight than me by myself just telling my mom that the pizza place is good, because I have 4 other people right behind me saying the same thing. Okay? So you have to frame your copy the same way. So who you are, testimonials to back up what you're saying, then what it's not. That's number 3. So number 1 is who, number 1 is testimonials, number 3 is what it's not. Now what we want to frame here and what we want to structure here is kind of like in a bullet point fashion, everything that your audience has tried and failed at. Okay? It doesn't really matter what it is, but it has to be stuff that that's common knowledge that they've tried and failed at. So if you're doing a weight loss thing, again, not my topic of expertise, but if you're doing a weight loss thing, you could list, this is not diet pills. This has nothing to do with crazy exercise routines. This has nothing to do with some product I bought at 2 a.m. on an infomercial. This has nothing to do with, juicers and, blending up carrots all day and drinking them. It has nothing to do with any of that crazy stuff. Okay? I've succeeded without all of the stuff that you've tried and failed at. So it has nothing to do with any of the stuff that you've ever tried before. Okay? So who you are, testimonials, what it's not. Now, the biggest portion of your copy is what it is. And what's very important about this portion of your copy is you have to value stack. That's what I call it. I don't know what other people call it, but I call it value stacking, which is when you break your product or service down as deep as you possibly can get it. So let's say you have a 3 or 4 module video course. Okay? Some people won't put anything. They'll just put, you're going to get 3 videos, you're going to get a PDF, you're going to get this, you're going to get that, and that's it. If you have a 3 or 4 module video course, you should have in big bold lettering, Module 1, the title of Module 1, and about a page in a word processor, a page of text about what the module is, and 7 to 10 bullet points about what they're going to learn. I don't care if it's a 5-minute video or a 3-hour video. That's what it should look like. Module 2, page of text, 7 to 10 bullet points about what they're going to learn. 3, 4, 5, 6, on and on and on. Okay? That's how you stack the value in your favor. Because what's going to happen is at the end of the copy, we're going to juxtapose that value and the price at the end. So they're going to see all this stuff. They're going to think, wow, this is freaking awesome. It's going to cost me a lot of money, and I'm getting a little afraid. And then they're going to say, it's not going to cost me a lot of money because it's only $27 or $37 or $47 or $2,000 or whatever it is that you decide to charge. Okay? Depending on the price that you decide to charge, you're going to value stack more or less depending on what it is. Right? If you're charging $2,000, obviously the product has to be worth more than what you're charging. If you're charging $27, the product has to be worth more than that. Okay? You want to make it look like that when you're value stacking. So you want to tell them what it is, and you want to stack the value in your favor. After you do that, you hit them with more testimonials at the end. So it's who you are, testimonials, what it's not, what it is, testimonials again, then the buy button comes in. Okay? Now, usually what I like to do, my favorite close, and this kind of goes on offline stuff, online stuff, on the phone, doesn't matter. I love to use this close because it's kind of like, almost like I guess a pivot point moment for the customer, or that's what I'm trying to create. And usually what I'll say to them is, let's just use the internet marketing space because that's what I'm most familiar with. So, listen, at the end of the copy, I'll say something like, listen, you have 2 choices, right? You can continue on buying the ClickBank launch of the day. You can continue on buying, the latest big guru product launch. You can continue on getting sucked into the crazy webinars and buying some stupid Kindle product or whatever. Or you could say, none of that stuff worked, and I'm going to try something new. It's up to you. And that's kind of how I just leave it off. And I do that on a telephone. I do that in person. I do that on the internet as well. And it works all the time. It's one of the highest converting closes that I've ever used. And again, that works offline, online, on the phone, whatever. All right. After you give them your close and your buy button, you want to give them the risk reversal, which is the guarantee. Now, don't get afraid of the guarantee, because if you have a guarantee, you're going to have refunds. Okay? The average refund rate in the internet marketing space is about 40%, 40%. My refund rate is 3 to 5%. It's all about creating great content. It's all about creating great products. It's all about supporting your customers the best you possibly can. Now, I'm going to give you a little inside secret tip that nobody else talks about and everyone's afraid to say, but here's what it is, and it's the truth. If you don't like it, leave. If you love it, write it down. When you're writing copy, okay, if your product is over the top awesome, which it should be, if you believe it's the best possible product you can create, if you believe that the customer is going to have massive amounts of success when he uses it, if you believe that it's so valuable you could charge $1 million for it and still feel comfortable, but you're only charging 27 because you're being nice, if you believe that you created the greatest product ever created in your niche, ever in the history of the niche, you have your job as a copywriter or a salesperson is to tell the customer whatever the hell you have to say to get them in it. Okay? I don't want to mention the name of the product, but I did a pretty famous launch on the Warrior Forum about 1.5 years ago. The copy and the product did not match at all. Now, there was some things like when we did the value stacking and told them what was in each module, that matched. But everything else didn't match. All I did was hype the crap out of it, told them whatever I had to tell them to get them inside the product. A ton of people bought it, and guess what? Everybody loved it. The refund rate was about 2%. To this day, 1.5 years later, you can't find one negative comment about the product at all anywhere. And it was one of the greatest internet marketing products ever. And the reason why that is because the content of the quality was the best of the best. Now, here's the key. If you don't think your product is the best that you can create, if you don't think you have the best product ever created in your niche, if you don't think that your product is going to provide massive value for your customers, don't sell it. Don't sell it, because it's your name, it's your brand, it's your reputation, and you're ruining it if you put out garbage content. All right? So, don't be afraid of the guarantee, because you will get refunds, but if you put out great content, the refund rate will be extremely low, and the amount of people who purchase because of the protection of the refund, of the guarantee, is much higher than the percentage of people that refund. So, I'll give you an example. Let's say I have a piece of copy that doesn't have a refund. Okay, maybe my conversion rate will be 5%. If I have a copy that does have a refund or a guarantee, my copy will be 11, 12, 13%. I'm not going to get 8% refund rate. I'm going to get 3 or 4% refund rate. So the difference in percentages, if you switch the two, is in my favor. More people buy because of the guarantee, as opposed to the people who refund when there is a guarantee. Got that? Okay. After you do that, that's pretty much it. That's all you got to do. Now again, later on, we're going to go through this in great detail. I'm going to break down each and every section, and I'm going to teach you guys, I'm going to actually do an example on how to write each and every section. And we'll actually write a piece of copy right here. Now, the best way to write copy that converts like crazy is this. Nobody talks about it. Nobody will say it in public. Nobody will write it down. Nobody will put it in a video. But everybody knows it, and everybody calls it something different. But I like to speak in plain English, and I like to, pretty blunt and to the point, as you can tell. The best way to write copy that converts like crazy is to find copy that converts like crazy and steal it. Call it unethical, call it what you want, because the New York Times bestsellers who write copywriting books, they just call it a swipe file. I just call it stealing, because that's what it is. And by far, it's the best way to write copy. It's the same thing when you talk about a squeeze page. Now, people talk about a squeeze page, they'll say, well, you got to have the quote-unquote free giveaway. Well, I just call it a bribe, because that's exactly what it is. You're bribing someone to get their contact information, right? Why don't we just talk like, why do we have to talk like we're idiots? You're bribing someone to get the contact information. There's nothing wrong with that. Every company's been doing it since the beginning of time. Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies do it all the time. I can't go to Barnes & Noble and buy a book without the cash register saying, would you like to put your name and email address in so I can give you some free coupons, or whatever the hell she says. Okay? So people do it all the time. The best way to write good copy is to find good copy that's already being used, take it, copy it, put it into a word processor, change the name at the top, change what the product is about, because obviously it's not going to be the same product, change the story to fit your story, change the testimonials to make the testimonials be your testimonials, change the price to make it be your price, change the modules and the value stacking to make it reflect your product, and use it. The guts of the copy and the selling involved in the copy is going to stay the same. You know it's going to convert like crazy because it's converting like crazy on the other page. So why not just use it? That's what we do. Okay? We're here to make tons of money. We're here to make, millions of dollars, and that's the way it's done. All right? If you have an ethical problem with that, well, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you, but that's just the way it is. All right? So that is pretty much it for copywriting right now. Again, we're going to go through the step-by-step how to do it. We're going to actually write a piece of copy here in a couple minutes, but we'll move on to our next topic.